The Democrats are politically destroying themselves by pushing the Equality Act as Mr. Potato Head almost gets neutered. In this video, we're going to take a look at the so-called Equality Act that just passed the House, how it guarantees the loss of one of the Democrats' most important voting constituencies, and how the makers of Mr. Potato Head tried to neuter him, but ended up recanting in the end. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Wonderful to be with you. As always, we're here to give you each and every day conservative hope in the midst of these turbulent and trying times, helping you think better so you can feel better. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular part of this channel. Some alt-tech links down below for you Rumble fans. Make sure to click on the link below to subscribe to our brand new Rumble channel. Help us to get to 100,000 subs there. We're almost there. And for you Parler fans, make sure to click on the link below and subscribe to our Parler channel. You know, let's together celebrate and support the return of this wonderful alt-tech site. Now, before we begin, let's give a huge shout out to our sponsor, and that is Tougher Joints. And this, of course, is for all of us who are starting to feel our age out there. We may assume that joint pain is something to be accepted as we get older, but it doesn't have to be. And that's why I highly recommend Tougher Joints. Tougher Joints has the science-backed ingredients your body needs to solve joint pain by restoring, protecting, and lubricating your joints. And what's not to love with that? Make sure to click on the link below. And as a special incentive, you're going to get Tougher Joints, get this, at 51% off. So don't wait. It is a limited time offer. Click on that link below, or you can go and visit their website at tougherjoints.com. That's tougherjoints.com. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. Yesterday, the House voted to pass what's being touted as the so-called Equality Act in a 224 to 206 vote. The proposal officially and legally separates biological sex from so-called gender identity, and as such, it prohibits discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, in employment, housing, and other services. It should not surprise you that the so-called Equality Act was pushed hard by, of course, big business. The Federalist is reporting that an organization called the Human Rights Campaign, which is an LGBT activist group with far left interests, they've assembled a coalition of the world's most powerful corporations to support what's being touted as the Equality Act. And if you scroll through this really astounding list, you'll find massive corporations from Amazon to Bain to Best Buy, all aligned with the Human Rights Campaign to legalize this so-called Equality Act. And here, I just want to pause to point out, we simply cannot overestimate just how radically businesses have changed as a result of their increasing globalization over the last couple of decades. We have to understand big business is no longer the friend of the Republican Party, okay? Big business and Wall Street may have been fully on board with the Republicans back in the 1980s and 90s, but gang, those days are long gone, okay? Globalization has effectively liberalized big business by moving business models away from nationalism, populism, and traditionalism. Big business is now thoroughly aligned with cosmopolitan liberal lifestyle values. Big business cares nothing, absolutely nothing about mid-America, rural America. It sees border security and national sovereignty as impediments to standardization, which is the key dynamic inherent in globalization that allows businesses to grow and scale beyond any organization in human history. Amazon is infinitely bigger than anything the Roman Empire could have ever hoped to become. And so today, big business is thoroughly in the corner of left-wing liberalism. And all you got to do is look at that list, or look at where Bill Gates is politically, or Jeff Bezos, or Mark Zuckerberg, or Dorsey, or Cuban, on and on and on. They are all far leftists. They are all globalists. They're all Trump haters. Big business is officially the enemy of the MAGA-inspired Republican Party. Got to get that. All right. Now, I keep referring to this act as the so-called Equality Act, and I'm doing so because there are a number of pundits out there who are rightly pointing out that there's actually nothing equal about the Equality Act. As Ian Hayworth of the Daily Wire puts it, the left is playing a very clever game. They present their Equality Act legislation as a referendum on whether transgender people have a right to exist, all while hiding that the legislation actually aims to destroy religious liberty under the guise of achieving equality. The editors over at National Review wrote a scathing critique of the act, pointing out that the Equality Act would redefine sex to include gender identity, thus forcing every federally funded entity, most notably schools and colleges, to treat males who declare transgender status as if they were females. It would stamp out religious exemptions by regulating religious nonprofits, and even go so far as to block the Religious Freedom Restoration Act from applying to its provisions. And so what we're seeing here really is something that is simply inescapable. It's frankly a law of reality, and it tends to go unnoticed among people. It's a very simple fact. Every act of anti-discrimination always entails new forms of discrimination. All anti-discrimination always entails new forms of discrimination. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 discriminated against racists. It discriminated against those who wanted white-only schools. It discriminated against those who wanted color-designated water fountains. Now, we might think these are good things to discriminate against. For sure, we want to discriminate against evil. But we had better have our heads screwed on rightly to notice that equality measures always entail new forms of inequality. As it turns out, anti-discrimination measures are not ultimately about equality and freedom versus inequality and oppression, but rather about new forms of equality and inequality, new forms of freedom and oppression, tolerance and intolerance. That's what so many are concerned about with the so-called Equality Act. By forcing particularly religious organizations to comply with its standards, far from alleviating discrimination and oppression, it's actively imposing discrimination and oppression, albeit in new forms. So that's the first thing I think to note here. Also, we should note that this is perhaps the single most self-defeating act the Democrats can possibly be pursuing at the moment, and that's because scholars and pundits have recognized that this kind of identity politics only further alienates the Democrats from white working class voters. A number of pundits have recognized that the white working class is abandoning the Democrats in droves. Okay, these are your blue collar manufacturing workers, factory workers who have historically voted exclusively Democrat, but who defected in droves to vote for Trump in 2016, 2020. And one commentator put it this way: back in 2016, if you went to Hillary Clinton's website, to her homepage, you would see a button for African American issues, Latino issues, women's issues, LGBT issues, but not a single button for white working class men. They've been forgotten in the political left's turn to identity politics. So the act is only going to further alienate the Democrats from that constituency that used to be the backbone of the left. In the UK, the primary party on the left is called the Labour Party. Here in the States, FDR's New Deal coalition made Labour the heart of one of the most successful political coalitions ever. So that's in many ways dead today, and the Equality Act is burying it even deeper. But of course, this doesn't stop with the Equality Act, because now we have the same sentiments turning our toys upside down as well. But before we get into that, I do want to give you a free gift. Make sure to click on the link below and download your very own fake news antidote. We have updated our compilation of over 30 alternative news sites I go to for my news each and every single day. They are all conservative. They all celebrate Trump and the nationalist populist revolt going on all over the world. And boy, do we need these news resources now more than ever. You can download your own copy of our updated fake news antidote completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. And you're going to have a ready list of your go-to sites that you'll definitely enjoy each and every day, and it's going to inspire you through these trying times. It's yours absolutely free by clicking on the link below. It is my gift to you. All right, guys. So not even our kids' toys are safe from the liberal left anymore. Now, you may have heard about the pressing controversy surrounding the toy Mr. Potato Head. That's right, Hasbro. The makers of Mr. Potato Head created some confusion yesterday when they announced that they'll be dropping the Mr. from the brand's name, Mr. Potato Head, in order to be more inclusive. And so we can all feel, quote, more welcome in the potato head world. The company Hasbro said as well that they would be selling a new playset this fall without the Mr. and Mrs. designations that will let kids create their own type of potato families, including 2 moms and 2 dads. After news of the brand name change came out, responses exploded on Twitter, with people asking if Barbie will change her name next, or suggesting that the company Hasbro is obviously going to have to get rid of the bro in their name and just go by Has. It was all too hilarious for sure. And obviously at some point, the Hasbro execs admitted that this was turning into a public relations disaster. And so they backed off. The Hasbros soon tweeted out, while it was announced today that the Potato Head brand name and logo are dropping the Mr., I am proud to confirm. They're proud, gang. They are proud to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. They are so proud. What a disaster. These corporatist globalists are such embarrassments. They're at war with reality. And it's wonderful to see that every once in a while, reality wins out in the end. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And you definitely want to check out my latest video. I just uploaded it. It's on how Sleepy Joe hypocritically bombs Syria, all as Donald Trump is turning the GOP into the Patriot Party. You're not going to want to miss that, so make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.